Good to see you. All right, so a little warm up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Change. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Reaching up. 1, 2, and through your legs. 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Opening your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Okay, left hand up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the way. 3, 4, 5. Around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. With a bounce. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 2. 3 toes. 4 arms. Go. And slowly burn. Just a little bit. You can hold your swing past each hip. So just here. All right, evening, Finn. Hi, Steve. So I thought we would examine curiosity and whether that had any place to play in Aikido. Okay, so this is open to you guys as well as Caitlin, because Caitlin hates answering questions, don't you? She hates them. So why might we want to be curious when we practice Aikido? Yeah, just stay unmuted and offer any comments you've got.
I was wondering to figure out new ways to behave ourselves, just recognize our automatic patterns and then develop new ways, maybe.
Being open to difference is a really good reason to be curious, not to get stuck in a pattern and never seek to find your way out from that. So I think that's very good. Finn, any thoughts?
It seems to me that there's always an active sensing of how a technique's working in practice, as opposed to how it should work in your mind's theory.
Right, so there's a sense of, if I get you right, tell me if I haven't summarized this correctly. Curiosity is a sense of being out there in the world and feeling your way as opposed to pulling back. Is that right?
Yes, and in actuality, a technique will always acquire some sensing, a sense of feeling that's different from the hypothetical.
Very nicely put. Yeah, so there's kind of no assumptions about curiosity. You're just finding what's out there. You don't know what it's going to be. That's what you're looking to find out. Steve, any thoughts about curiosity? I'll take that as a no. Okay, so I think curiosity definitely is the things that you said. It's about an exploration. It's about letting your energies go out there and looking to bring the maximum information in so you can make sense of the world that you don't know. And we don't know much, actually. So what I'm going to say is that when you're practicing with a new partner, you don't know what energy they're going to bring to the mat. You don't know what they're like. If they've not done it before, you don't know how they're going to react when you do that technique which you're so familiar with. When you step onto the mat with somebody who's probably more experienced than you, you don't know if they're going to teach you something about that old, boring technique that you've never known. What you always want to be is open to the information that's coming your way. So every time we step on the mat, we want to step on with a sense of curiosity, not being fixed in a place, and certainly not arriving with fear. Because fear is a place where we pull back and we're not exploring anymore. We're probably trying to hold our ground or get to some place where we can hold our ground. Yeah. And that never helps us advance our learning. So, Caitlin, I didn't know which hand she was going to grab with or how she was going to grab. So, I've got to be open to whatever is going on. So all I'm doing is I'm sensing where Caitlin is, and I'm moving with her. Try and reflect as best I can what I think she wants from this encounter. I'm not trying to make any suppositions. Yeah. You can kind of create an atmosphere where maybe it's a controlled environment in which you're exploring. So you notice on that last one, I didn't offer her a hand. So what was the grab? There was a shoulder. So I didn't know she was going to grab the shoulder. She might have tried to punch me in the head for all I know. But that was one of the things she could do. So I'd taken the option of taking my hand away so I could explore what it was like for her to attack my shoulder. And carry on attacking. Yes. So if I don't do anything I've just learned, I get bowled over. So I better do something this time. So I think it's ideally we're trying to push ourselves in a place where we can always be curious and not fearful. I think if we push our boundaries too far, it begins to interfere. Does that seem fair? Yeah, but we want to always be pushing outwards and trying to see what's beyond what we know at this point in time. And the only way we can do that is to step on the mat with that sense of what's often called empty mind, no expectations of what's going to happen, but just I wonder what will happen tonight. Okay, so I wonder what will happen tonight, Kendall. I'm going to attack you. Yes, nice. All right, carry on. So one of the things you should have no expectations about is getting the technique right. There's just as much to learn from maybe making a mistake in the technique as there is by successfully completing it. If you successfully complete it, great, I've got to push you to a new level where you'll probably make a mistake because I want you to find that next level of information that will make the technique work better for you. When you hit the place that it doesn't work, you can either be upset that it didn't work, or you can be curious about what you need to do to get the job done. So there's a place to be experimental and to explore. So in actual fact, you should kind of celebrate that because you've got your learning opportunity. Okay, so again, just be open, don't know what I'm going to do. All right. No expectations, right? Okay, so why am I not going over now? Are you trying to force it in here? Yeah, so in cultivate is this. When you view it, it looks like you're pushing down. And Caitlin's smaller than me, and I think probably weaker than me, but you can see that she wants to resist when I do that. If I create pain, she'll go down. That's the smart thing to do rather than get damaged. But it doesn't really feel good, and it is something that you want to resist. So that's not what we're looking for. If we find a barrier, how can I get through the barrier? Well, I'm not going to try to create it. When I do that, rather than by pushing, by leading, I know that actually she probably wants to come up with this at the moment. She wants to go down. If her hand were resting, just give me the weight. If I could feel the weight of that, such that it would fall away if she just lets go, yes, good. Then I know the next move is down. But when I take here, I've got to be open to the possibility that she doesn't want to go down. I can tell you she really doesn't want to go down at this point in time. So being an Aikido, I have to harmonize. What does she want to do if she doesn't want to go down? Oh, up. Then you can take her down. So being open to that possibility that what you're expecting to receive is not actually what you receive is actually crucial to being able to do your techniques successfully. Okay, so don't go into automatic mode as to what you think the technique's going to be. What do you feel at that every moment in time? What needs to be done next to continue with the movement smoothly? And that takes time to work out. And you have to learn to trust your gut. Well, can you lucky girl? Okay, so we reached the stop. So usually when you try to stop me, it's because of what? Okay. Don't use strength, just let your hands forward. Lift up a little bit. Gravity down. Yes. Yes. It's very easy for me to on this side. It's very easy for you to think that maybe it's strength that's bringing Caitlin down. Keep your center, please. But I am pulling quite hard, am I not? And you're not shifting, correct? Okay. So now I want to hold really lightly. I'm just using 2 fingers, but I'm going to go down through Caitlin. Look how easy it is to move her. So I try to make this young lady do what she doesn't want to do. It's really difficult, but if I just follow where her mind is going, it's much easier. Yep. So you nearly always know if it comes to a stop, it's probably your fault, not their fault, if they're doing it well. Okay. But there are situations where, okay, you take me down. So there are occasions where it may not be her fault. It might be me being really stubborn. But she's got to work that out too. He's being really stubborn. What do I need to do to overcome this? In my mind, I'm thinking I'm not going down. What's the opposite to I'm not going down? It's I'm going to stay up. So go up. And now go down. The challenge with Aikido is, firstly, you've got to be in control of yourself. And then secondly, you've got to be able to go in tune with your partner such that you can work just as smoothly with them as you can with yourself. And it was hard enough working out what was in your head, let alone in their head. So that's what you've got to feel, right? Okay, so you two, because Laura's arrived now, you can just kind of go to however you want. So I'm not telling you how to attack, but take a couple each and just be open to it. And what we're doing is exploring curiosity. Now you know.
So anything goes.
No, I don't know that was right, but it works. Yeah. All right. So let's just pause it there. What did you like about what you did, and what were the bits that maybe didn't feel so good?
I liked that it was kind of fun.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But I do get stuff on when I'm thinking too much.
Right. So there was kind of a stopping it. Okay. What did you notice when you were having it done to you?
I think it's really over.
Right.
Other than that, it was
Good. So it's not just the Tori that should be curious, it's the uke as well. Okay, so you come with the intention of the attack, but after that, you're curious as to the response. And you're trying to stay as centered as you can from that point on, so you can feel exactly what she's doing. And that might result in you being on the mat, or it might result in a stop, in which case, then, she's trying to force it there, or she cuts her key there, or whatever it is. Okay, carry on. Your turn to attack. Caitlin. It's nice, sort of secondary technique. So, what did you notice about that?
she got really clumsy.
Okay, maybe a bit clumsy in the first. How did that make you feel? Good. Annoyed? Frustrated? Okay. What about for you? What did you notice?
I started off really well, and then I think we got a bit self-conscious of what we were doing. And that's when it started breaking.
Okay, is that a fair assessment? Okay, so okay, we've identified something that maybe you need to work on. I feel self-conscious when I'm practicing in front of my teacher or in front of the audience. Okay, so how do we overcome it? Well, only with hard work. But let's just focus entirely on what we're feeling here. And then maybe we won't. So what we'll do, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to do this later, but I'm going to do it sooner. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shut my eyes. I'm just going to move with my partner. I don't mind who comes. I'm curious. I don't mind what's going to happen. So I can't afford to be too self-conscious. I really got to put myself out there because I need maximum information from the other senses that are available to me. Yes? Because now it's only feel. And I've got to allow this to be soft to basically, it's going to be like a thermometer. If there's any part of me saying, oh, let's try to stop this, it's just got to go as far as the sheet goes. My body has to respond. All of my body has to be soft so that I can move in a nice unified way, whichever way it seems the right way to move. And that's what she's telling me. She's telling me where to go. And I'm just trying to interpret what she's giving me to get a result. All right. So you shut your eyes first.
I'll take them off.
There weren't much use anyway. Now
I get in the way.
okay. Let's try that. That's what anything goes, patience. We're going to use them. Nice. Actually, you did it without a stop that time. Interesting.
I'm just like getting the dark PLC.
No idea what technique's going to appeal. You can't afford to be thinking like that. And start again. You're going again. Yeah. Nice. One more take then. In fact, one more that takes your okay, your turn. All right, good. Nice. That's all right. You haven't got time to sit already, you just have to adjust. Carry on giving her some energy there, you know, if you can. Okay, good. All right, fine. So how was that for you?
How was that for me?
When you were doing the throws?
When I was doing, I like it better than not being able to see than being able to see.
So actually your Aikido improves. Interesting. Right, okay then.
Yeah, somehow it's like, without seeing, but, you know, maybe it's using our senses or something, but you can't really think what you're going to do.
Yeah. Okay, so I would say that the sense that we probably rely on the most is sight. You know, in the modern world, it's probably sight. So that's feeding in and it's overwhelming everything else. The touch and the smells and what you hear, but more the touch, I think. Because in Aikido, that's really, really important. It's touch that tells us everything in Aikido. It's not so much sight. What you see may not happen. Just because you've got a knife doesn't mean to say you're going to attack me. Might, and I need to be open to that, but you might not. So I can't think knife, attack, oh, I'm going to kill it. Yes, so it's very, if the things that you see in the world are all a little bit frightening, for whatever reason, then that's going to impact on what you bring to the mind. Okay, so find a way of switching that off. So shutting your eyes is a really good way to switch it off, right? I'm going to have my eyes open, but I'm not going to focus particularly on Laura. I'm just going to kind of try to do a really broad peripheral vision. So I'm still able to kind of get the speed of this right and the space of it right and the feel of it right without really worrying too much about her. If I give her too much attention, I don't know, you might have been just about to get up and attack me. They could have leapt out of the screen perhaps, I don't know. So just, let's try that. Let's try and just kind of soften our vision a bit. And we're paying attention, but we're paying attention to everything. And we're trying to move in relationship with Laura. So I'm concerned about the space. I'm concerned about the timing. I'm concerned about staying safe. There's some other things I need to bear in mind in my movements. So I've got general awareness. Oh, this is stupid. Clearly, that's not going to save me. So, although I'm not concerned, I'm trying to stay in relationship with this system. Yeah. Okay. So let's try that. Let's do it one step. Let's do it again. Yeah, nice. Very good. Okay, then you have a go. You're heavy. So you force that margin. So lighten up. Don't feel the need to force it. Make sure you let her fully express so that you can just follow her over down. Better. That's all right. Good. So maybe one of the things in Aikido that we focus too much on is like holding our ground. We feel we've got to control the space. And often you'll see people never back off or not back off enough, or even enter. And I'm never say never in Aikido. There is a time to hold your ground. There is a time to enter. And there's a time to back off. But don't get fixed in one particular mode. Again, it's about feeling what you need to do. It's not a defeat to give up ground. Okay, when you're in an argument with somebody, actually the argument's pretty overwhelming against your position. What's the sensible thing to do?
Keep arguing.
Yes, keep arguing. That will always work. Yeah. Obviously, it's to say, you know what, you're right, I'm sorry. I get to learn from the experience because you'll come out stronger at the end of the day, won't you? If it opens the learning. That's where, if you're going to have an argument, that's got very negative connotations. But what we're really looking for is an exchange of information so that one of us is going to shift ground. And maybe we decide that neither one of us is going to shift ground and we'll both hold the position we've got. Because not everything's black and white. Just look at Aikido, there's 100 different interpretations of what Aikido is really about. What it's about for me, what it's about for everybody else is entirely their business, it's not mine. But I'll follow my path, they follow their path. What we will hope is to share that path along the way a little bit. Okay, so yeah, just explore what you can do and stay safe, but without standing still. So I can stand still and stay safe, I hope. All right. Or I can kind of enter and do something about it. But we're going to play this game of just not being there, but not giving her the opportunity to attack. All right, so let's try that. So you have to be curious about how you can move, stay safe, keep the space, and then maybe ultimately see an opening that you can explore. That's nice. I don't care how long you move for, right? That could be ages. There it is again, but actually that's the nicest version you've done of that. Right, that's nice. Keep going. That could stop as a hand. You don't have to attack the way, of course. You might decide to use Sherman or Yokoman or something else. One more, and then it's your turn. Gotcha. Okay, your turn now. So, no presupposition, but you're looking to use the space. Okay, so I want you to try and at any moment in time, you're never fixed to a spot, you're constantly moving. Yep. So at the moment you fix, that's the moment you're thinking, I'm going to do this technique now. Okay. It's all right, it's all right. Come down and that's a little bit. Thank you. Okay, so the space, I can't get into that space. So where how can I do it? I'll keep moving with it. So that's, I've got to be aware that's not a place I can go because there's resistance here. So let go. And then we'll do all the hard work for you. We hope. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. That was really nice. Well, good. Step down the mat a little bit. Or the attack, so that's a job done in the first instance. Very nice, very good. Keep going, Laura. Just keep going. So, what did that feel like for you?
Really good, actually. I felt quite lovely. Not trying to breathe deep. I think at the start I kept getting distracted with you. Yeah.
Just occasionally you found it, didn't you? Okay. So, do we like to be boxed and crammed, or do we like a sense of space? I think as human beings, we like a sense of space, really. Different people need different amounts of space, but most of us want to feel that they're not right up close, that they've got room to be themselves in life and do what they want to do. And I think Aikido is a really great way of experiencing what it's like to have spaciousness. So we can jam the space if needed. When you've got a really crowded map, you've got to be able to do your techniques in time limit spaces, haven't you? Okay, and you just adjust. You just adjust. And if you live in a big system, you get used to living cheek by jowl. If you live in the countryside, you're used to seeing green fields, etc. So we can adjust. But when possible, we want to use the space that's available to us. So that's, I guess, the thing. You use the space that's available to get the most comfort out of the situation. And what I noticed was that when you allowed the space to happen, suddenly it began to look a little more easy and a bit more flowing. So let's ask our audience if they're about. Finn, did you notice any difference? You need to take it off mute, unfortunately. We don't want to miss your pearls.
Just a sense impression on this little screen. Yeah, just sort of a sense of flow, a sense of like the confidence is coming through as well. It's just sort of and just some sense of growing with practice as well. But just the senses are sort of tuning in, it seems, from this point of view.
Joe, any observations? Did you notice how it changed when I was asking them to focus on the different things?
Yes, what I noticed first, actually, it was the difference between curiosity and fear. When we are curious, we want to enter. So we want to enter with our center. It's not necessarily it's in movement,
Yeah.
but our intention is to enter with the situation. And without the curiosity, we are far away from the technique.
Yeah.
So it's when I saw your elbow like this, but yeah, I think it is about dealing with the change in the middle of the situation and how can we sustain that moment.
Yes.
I think that's our challenge, maybe.
So when you rush in to try and solve a problem, your first thought might not be the right way to solve the problem. When you give yourself space and time and you get a better picture of what's going on, the solution becomes obvious and it becomes much easier to solve the riddle. If you give yourself the space and time to get all the information there in the first place. So good rule for the mat, but probably good rule for life too. You know, when something goes wrong, don't just, I must fix it. No, spend some time thinking about it. What could happen if you did this, that, or the other? So now what we can do is I'm going to take away that sense of being able to move hugely. I can't dance around on my knees as much as I can if I'm standing on my feet. Okay? But I still need to be able to control this and have a sense of space. The relationship between us is going to be different because my movement's going to be different. But nevertheless, I still have it. I still got movement here. There we go, that's as good. And I need those glasses. Okay. So you can kind of, even then when you haven't got movement like this, you've not got the movement of the feet, you still can control where their mind is moving. So in that way, I've got control of the space because I'm dictating where her mind goes to some degree. So come slowly if you would. Yeah, more that way. So I keep my hand here. She's fixed on the target. I know she's going to come straight through. So really, if that's the case, then my movement's going to have to be on that line. But as she's coming, if I'm kind of moving the target, it changes what happens. So she wants to grab this, but it's gone. Her mind's come up and down before it's arrived. So I'm controlling the space in that sense. Yeah, okay. So, Laura, do you want to take me around? Okay, then you'd like that. Do your worst.
That's nice.
Just a thought, okay? So if you create a barrier, a wall, people will try to knock it down, right? So you hide yourself from the world tries to batter it down, and usually the world wins. Or you have or they don't win, you have a miserable life, because you stay within your own little wall, okay? So in Aikido, we want to try and avoid barriers. Yeah, it will work, maybe, but or that's a barrier of sort. It might work, but it's not very satisfying. So learn to take the barriers away. While she's thinking about grabbing my shoulder, she's not thinking about what I want, which is her head. She's not seeing the other hand. Quite effective. If you control the head, you usually control the body. So it's really important that as soon as you touch, you're moving in the direction of that touch. Yep. And it should be the more she attacks, the more she gets stuck. And that's less good because there's more of you that sticks to her. Okay, so try not to put so much of a barrier up. Come again. I'm glad that throw didn't happen in the end. Yeah, don't try to dictate the speech. It's becoming a diagonal, so if you don't kind of throw, it's not that good. Okay. So, metaphorically speaking, that's a barrier there. Unless I've got a very sharp sword, I can't go through her wrist. Okay, that's not so much of a barrier because that's a place where the energy lines you can play with. That's not a barrier. The other end of it isn't so much a barrier. You can do stuff there. You can do stuff at the joints. We talked about this. But we can't really very effectively. No, it doesn't really work very well. You want to come to places like that. So if you're going to it, make sure you try to tap one of those places. Okay, have a go. Nice. Very nice. Oh, very nice indeed. She's holding my hands up my back, which is never particularly good. Okay. But I should be curious, well, what can I move? Oh, I can move here. not really doing too much good. Go there, that's not much good. There's that. I could kick, so that's a possibility. Actually, I've got some movement in my hands here. If I put it down to the ground, oh, now I can move. So it's like trying to solve a puzzle. What's open to me? My first thing is that I fixate on the fact that my shoulders are going through my head and it's uncomfortable. So if I'm fixating on that, I kind of, nothing else occurs to me. But as soon as I think, oh, where's the space here? What's she actually doing? I can move very, very easily. So I've got to create that inner spaciousness and realize that having my arms doesn't stop me moving my body.
Quentin, you get out with a circle, isn't it? We usually would like to get out of the situation or up or down, but you get out in the circle.
Correct. So remember, if you think about nearly all your Aikido movements, you want to be at the center of the movement in some sense. So sometimes the techniques are quite up and down, quite linear, but there's still a center to the movement. And sometimes it's obvious. So if we're doing something like this, it's obvious that there's a circle going on around in the middle of it. But really, every technique, there's a circle of sorts going on in my head. I'm staying in the center of it, and she's going to be moving around the center. Yeah. So I've just changed because she changed her relationship with me, she grabbed my arms and put them up my back. That's where she is. So she thinks she's got the center, but actually I'm so calm on that. I can do something. That didn't work though. Good. Well, that does. Okay. So, would you like to try that? You don't have to do anything that I did. It's just what you feel is right. Okay, not bad. Only thing is, okay, so I'm going to try and do this. So I went down, allow me to go down. And then you did that, and yes, that's what you should have done. She should have done to you. She should have just pulled you down at that point in time. So you gave up your structure of it, and now I'm really, I've let her have my center now. So she is the center of the movement. It's too late, really, to make sure that I preserve my center. It's still there. Very hard to stop that movement, yes? Nice. Okay. You created the barrier. Not creating the barrier the second time. One more and I think you say. Now just observation. So can you face the camera? Where's the safest place to be as I escape this? The answer is not away from her. I just put myself in more trouble. The safest place to be is as close as I can get to my partner. That's the safest place to be, because I give her no space to change, and I can feel everything that's going on in her body. The closer I am, the more I feel. Does that make sense? Okay. And the other thing I want to say is that Who do you think stops you from doing stuff in life the most? Yes. Usually it's you that stops yourself doing stuff, not other people. You create the limitations. You put the barriers up. And I think it's a lovely metaphor for the Aikido journey. It's about pulling down those barriers and saying, I'm not having it. I can go that far, and I can go this far, and continually pushing outwards and trying to not put those self-doubts in the way of what you're capable of. It's only you that limit your progress most of the time. And even when the world is putting you down, you have a choice. Do you accept that? Or are you going to start walking forward? It might be a heavy burden that you carry, but walking forward is better than staying still or backing off. So that's my thought. Let's try that again. Try to stay maybe a little bit tighter to our partner. Good. Nice. Body movement there. Very well. So it's very hard for me to it's very hard for me to see what space there is when I'm working with but I'm actually going to come right in. So how hard is different to yours? Okay, you kind of up right up like that, which is fine. So you're closer, it's easier to really stay with you.
Yeah.
But Caitlin's created a bit more space, but she's also created more space for me. It's a different move that I have to do, but you know, I'm thinking, oh, I can move. Yeah, so enter if you need to close the gap. All right. One more way, so she's probably one of us get it down the that feel different. It looks different. It looks more purposeful and successful.
Yes. I feel more stronger.
Right. How does it feel for you? Yeah. Okay, let's give you a bit. Okay. Okay, so we want to work in a unified way. So you started turning, and then what you started to do is try to use your arms. I didn't have to turn as much as you, and I'm not having as much success as you. I just cannot move my arms. So I tell you what, I'm going to give up and use my body instead. Oh, then it works. So when my arm is unified with my body, when my body turns, so does my arm. No, I solved the problem. As soon as I focus on this is what I need to move these things to do it, I stop it actually. Because she's got hold of those. She hasn't got hold of my hips and my body. So just use your body movement a bit more, and then your arms will follow. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Yes. Didn't look like anything you've ever done, but it was successful, right? Think about it. How often have you ever been held like that? So why should it look like anything you've ever done? Sorry. So all that I don't need to draw attention to that she stepped away a bit. And actually all that's going to tie me up. So look for that. There she is. Yeah, and it's my body, you know, whatever I can use what I've done before, or I can just use my body. She's still got my hands, but just shifting my center is all I need to do. I just need to be connected somehow. When they're grabbing you, they're giving you a huge advantage. They have connected to you, so as long as you keep moving towards the floor in some way, so will they. Okay. If there's any arm movement, she'll feel it, she'll respond, and she'll counter. So really, I want to leave those where they are. Yeah. She can have those. I know where they are. She knows where they are, but does she know where I am in relation to them? No. If I leave them there, I give her something to battle with. So, however she wants to hold them, do something else. Nice. Yeah, keep turning your body. And voila. Excellent. You could keep walking her back into the wall. That would probably be pretty effective. Yeah, that's good. Why don't you just drop down?
Yeah.
So depending on what she's got, she knows about, you know about. This has got to be something, the rest of it, that's up to you. It's your choice. You can explore it if you want to. Very nice. Sorry. That's all grabs from behind like this. That's kind of what's implied to happen. But you're one structure. So if she attacks, you should be able to just go with it and stay in the body. Putting up a barrier in this place is a really stupid thing to do. It doesn't work. So, like a sail, you should fill. And the boat that goes with the wind can then tack across it and eventually go in the direction it wants to. Oh, no one behind. Nice. Oh, I don't know when. I just want to be prepared to move when it arrives. I don't know how fast. I don't know the speed, I don't know the power. I just got to be able to instantly, just like a sail, fill with wind and start to move. Let's try. This is where stay curious, stay open, stay centered, relaxed, and then as it happens, you'll be able to move. Yeah, you're forward enough. You're quite right. That's what you're going to do. In front of you. Let her momentum take with it. Oops. Yes. That's what you have to do. If there's any element of when you go down that you do this, that's your doing. Because I'm going to, if you can just do that for me. My job is to follow her movement, and that's not a very positive result for her. So it's very important. So you can't attack on this side, all right? Now, when you go down straight. Not so from behind. See, I can put up quite a bit of resistance here. It's the fact that I disappeared. That's what brings her past me. It gives me the control I want. So if you're going to go down in a unified way and keep your structure. Hey, what? Shut your eyes. Shut your eyes. Still coming up too fast. You need to be able to see past you. Yes. Okay, let's go. Someone put it on the screen. Okay, okay, that's good. This is what we have to talk about. So, when we've been doing this technique, the person bobbing up behind has been focusing on the elbow as the place from which to throw their palm. But if when you're focusing on the elbow, you also drop the hand, you're now going to find it impossible to do this throw from the elbow. So what you have to do is come back to the hand. So when you feel the resistance there, think that's not moving. Oh, I wonder if that will. Yeah. Or that's not moving. Oh, I'll go to the shoulder then. Go to one or the other end of where the energy might be. Yeah. So if you rotate it up nicely and the hand stays up, I can control it from the elbow. But if I drop both, it's now difficult. So I might have to wrap that in a second go. But guess what happens when you get a down? You get an up, followed by another up and a down, and up and a down, until we get there. All right, so how do we go? Just bear that in mind.
Sorry.
Chances. Carry on practicing. Drop it. Nice. Drop it. So energetically, when we do Aikido, what's the principle that we're trying to follow? What are we doing energetically? Joe, any thoughts?
I don't know about that actually, but what I was noticing, the passing under the arm, it's kind of like in a wave. Both you need to attract a little bit your partner, so it goes with you, with the under, not just like I'm here and I'll be standing a line. So I don't know if there is an extra force or an extra energy that it's kind of you are here and then something something leaves away and then you just feel a little unbalanced.
Okay, so when somebody grabs you from behind, they expect to hit resistance. They don't expect to hit something that just flows with it. When you just flow with it, it's like you put two rivers together, so there's more energy there than there was before. So when there's a good flow forward, when you suddenly disappear downwards, the flow of energy is still forwards. It's impossible. I mean, if you're moving in a car with any speed, you cannot stop without a braking distance. The only speed at which you can stop with no braking distance is when you're not traveling. So as long as you're traveling forwards, there will be it'll take a while before you stop. And you just need enough for them to pass you to be able to do the technique that we were showing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. For me, I felt kind of, if I am passing under, it's not that I'm the only one passing under. It's kind of we are both conducting each other. Kind of that. It's not that okay, I just passed under and that's okay. I did it. It's not.
It's what it will feel like when it's done to you is like they just disappeared. Where did they go? You know, I was going along and then suddenly they weren't there. And it's that surprise element. While they're computing that, their legs are carrying them forward and it's too late then. That's what it will feel like. Okay, so energetically, with Aikido, I'm not really thinking of here or here or here. I'm thinking of this line down the body or that line down the back. So I can do this quite mechanically and reasonably successfully without using that sort of energy. But now I'm going to be thinking down here while I rotate the elbow. You get, well, what's the difference?
Mechanically, it was more forcing.
Right.
The other one was just instant.
Yeah. So again, this, you know, ideally I would want to drop it literally down in front. It will help me focus my mind on that line. You know, there are plenty of times where that's not the case. So I'm still dropping here down to the side, but in my head I'm dropping it. So I'm going to drop down to the side. And now I'm going to drop energy down within. It's just different. I put my mind in a different place. And it sounds a bit bizarre, but it's just imagination, really. I can think of like dropping a pebble down through her or something like that, or a bolt of lightning, or painting a line. It doesn't really matter. I'm just focused on Laura. And you can see that has quite an impact. If you go to the elbow, the shoulder, I'm still thinking there. So, would you like to experiment the three places doing an Aikido from here, here, and here? One, just trying to do it mechanically, and secondly, if you put your mind down that line. Okay, so in terms of joy for you, what are you going to score that out of 10? 5. 5's good. Okay. Let's see if we can get an improvement. What are we going to score that? Completely different. Absolutely different. Yeah. Hard work from the shoulder if you don't get this right. Okay. Didn't look so different, I've got to say. So where we look and where we think are not necessarily the same thing, but very often they are. So if I see people looking at a piece of the body, I kind of figure that that's probably where their attention is going to. What you see and what's actually going on may be two different things. If I'm looking here, it's kind of like that. But if I look at Laura and I do that, I get a different result. After a while, I can be putting my attention to Laura and looking somewhere entirely different, and I can still get a score. Okay, so it is the imagination, but it sure helps put my attention on Laura when I look at Laura. Yeah, so it's a good hint. Which is why when I do my Aikido, I'm forever telling you, look at your partner. Don't look at their hands or whatever it is. Look at them. All right, so try again. Just a little more focus on pain. Entirely different sound, feeling, energy to that, I would say. She doesn't want to be on one. It's the only one to make mistakes. So who's there? Yeah, the character. It's kind of raunchy and horrible. Yeah. So remember, forget us, forget everybody else. It's just you and her. We focus on her. There you go. Yeah. She's the only one that deserves your attention right now. Not you, not me, not them, only her. It's your relationship that you're working with. Okay. You're supposed to have done the physical one first, but I reckon you have strong energy. I'm looking at one now. So well, did it? Yeah. So on my hand. So if you just try and drop a hand down and leave the energy from there. And now you're going to focus on dropping a plumb line of energy straight through pelvis. There you go. I'm glad you said that. Because that's what she's there to reflect. Okay, so great job to there. So the only way she goes to the floor is if my line goes to the floor. Yeah. Then she's my measuring vessel as to what's going on with me. I did it better than before, because I did it with ease, but I did it, and now she can get up and I'm just got to start all over again. It's great, because I've got to now work out this puzzle. And the puzzle is, oh yeah, I need to extend a bit further. So just extend a bit further, let's see how you do. So that was to there. That was. You know what? Your arms didn't grow an extra foot.
I think they did.
Only your mind's changed. And the kind of annoying thing from the Uke's point of view is there's nothing to resist. You're gone before you know it. That was really, really good. Really, really good. So an awful lot of the time when we're doing the technique, what we see and what's actually going on are often very different things. Yeah. So we're doing our Protagaish. It looks like it's this hand doing the work, where in fact it's this one lowering it, and actually it's my mind on her elbow that really makes the difference. So actually it's got nothing to do with my hands, it's to do with sending energy down through her center line. So you can just use that as a touch point. And what you're going to do is you're going to send a bolt down through the center. This is going to connect all the way to her center and to the floor. So now what I try to do is I try to leave this out of the equation and just try to do it from the elbow. And I need to there's a bit where I think tightness, it's getting better. So when it drops to there, then it's easy to feel her center and to feel you've got to push through that. You don't. The lighter you get, the easier it's going to become. Okay, let's just try it. So what happened was you got to there and she didn't go. What you need is to stay here and you lean forward. As she's going, let your body come forward, so you maintain the relationship and you maintain your structure. So as I change, what happens to you? You change. And because we're one thing. Here's the relationship initially. This is fine. Okay, but you're changing the relationship. Okay, now I've changed, so you need to change. I change, and it just becomes like a continuous process. Okay, so she's in a relatively vertical position, which is great. And what you did is you made it really easy because you turned it into a horizontal position. Now it's very difficult to send that through the center because that's now pointing in this line. What you want to do is get tighter up in the air. What can you do with the other hand? Yes. We relax, the building will tumble. Change. Yes. Good. So when you hit a barrier, you can do one of two things. You can smash into it time after time, or you can stop, like you did, and work out how to walk around, climb over, go under, find a new door. slightly slow at changing when she changes. There's just little moments where it kind of comes to a little bit of a stop and then you gather your momentum again and catch up. That's what we're looking for. The confidence to be fluid and flow with it. Oh my Lord, just yeah, really nice. Time to show you how to get now. So a little bit of what she's going to use, we're going to deal with it, not quite as exaggerated, but it's still coming in this direction. You want to keep it in this direction. The only way you can keep it tight is if you close that step. Yes, except for the wall, I think that might work. Very nice, very nice. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is another classic, okay? So we're moving forward, right? So where does our mind tend to go? Forwards. She reflects that by staying standing. We've got to be able to do two things in Aikido. We've got to be able to physically travel in one direction and put our mind in another direction. So I'm going to move forward, I'm putting my mind down. And we do it in sports, you know, we might be bouncing a basketball down or whatever, as we're traveling forwards, but that's what you have to do, is thinking down and moving forwards. Yes, oh my goodness, what ease we did that move. Oh no, okay, good, okay, she's reflecting exactly what's going on, so she's being curious about what she's feeling. Yes, 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 very good, very good. Okay, good, marvelous, chance to learn again.
Is it too far this way, or am I just going to the woods? I think you're tempting yourself up there. Yes.
Yeah. So the learning piece here is often where you're holding, this is the connection piece. It's not necessarily where the technique's taking place. This is where you're attaching and forming, you're getting that oneness. Okay, but I can be thinking to a foot, or her center, or maybe that knee, but I'm not really thinking about this so much. Alternatively, I could think straight down through that and then follow it through her hip and down towards the floor. So I might immediately send a bolt of energy to a particular place, or I might be more of a stream. You can feel. One of my, I think, fun things to do is when we're practicing Aikido, is to just imagine that there's a trickle of energy coming, and you literally follow the river. You create a pathway. So what, Joe, give me a pathway. Where would you like me to travel? So you can take me out there and down her outer hip, or you can send me down the inside, or you can send me down the center. Where would you like me to go?
To her right feet, maybe? Right foot.
Right, so that's the one at the back. I've got it. Okay, so I'm going to travel down here and down that outside of the body to her foot. Okay, so out, far shoulder, down the side, and down to the foot. Okay, so I hope you were observant and you noticed the way she collapsed. Okay, this time I'm going to go down to that front foot, so it's going to be this line. That knee went down first this time. Now I'm going to send it just to her center. Completely different reaction to where I put my mind. They all ended up on the ground, but she feels them in different places. So if we're doing a really basic Nikio, when you see this done, actually it's not really taught any different. All the focus is on the bit you're grabbing, and anyone who's practiced Aikido for a while will know it's extremely painful when somebody puts force through there. So it's no wonder that most of us go down to the mat. It's a very difficult place to resist from. Of course, the answer is you shouldn't resist. So you're doing it to me now. Don't resist, and then it will come back on your partner. But most of us are stupid and we do resist and we get a painful wrist. But if we're trying to be kind, we shouldn't be focusing on here. We should be focusing on our partner. And then they'll do all the hard work for us. The change that you're creating is reflected in her body. Did that hurt your wrist? Did you have to go down? Was it pretty immediate and effective? Yes. Yeah. So if you can't see where I'm putting my mind, well, I'm telling you, it's not here. I'm not interested in that. This is just the connecting piece. That's what I'm connected to. That person over there. I'm interested in them. I'm very interested in them. Okay. Pick technique. Sankyo. Okay. So we'll do Sankyo from here. I'll give you a clue. Here's the connecting piece. Right? But I don't want you to be doing the technique from here. So this is it. Solve the puzzle. So if you see Caitlin move first, or her wrist turn, we've not got it where what we want.
Hang on. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So you've got a clue from Laura. You're moving now. Yeah, she's not. Getting there. All right. So remember, you're connecting to her system. You're creating a new system. This is us. This is not me. This is not her. It's us. Okay. I'm extending ki out, which is affecting the system. When you watch something that's moving centrifugally, which is the bit that you see the most movement from? The outer bit. You see lots of movement there, you don't really see much going on here. There might be stuff going on, but you can't see it. Okay. So you need her to move. She moved. But I forgot to react to that. I didn't. So she moved. I didn't. Now she's out of the limelight. As she moves, I move. As she moves, I move. As she moves, I move. And then we're in control of the situation. Yes? So remember, if she changes, you change. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to create the change. So she's stable. Oh. Now, not so much. Not so much. See how easy it is to take it down to the floor. Again, if you've done Aikido for a while, you certainly will have plenty of people crank on your wrist so that it feels like your wrist is being twisted off. It's very painful and no wonder you move. Okay. Again, if you're not stupid and you react as soon as they begin to crank it on, there is a counter. So it's not the smart way to do it. Don't let them, they focused on your wrist that actually, there's holes in the technique. I don't want to focus on, I want to focus on Laura. Oh, okay, that'll do for me. Yeah, she doesn't necessarily have to dance around me. If she does, because that's the energy I create, I don't mind. But she should be like a puppet on a string because I've connected to her. This is the connecting piece. There she is. Okay, come here. Okay, so Yeah. So you could, or the head, a tripod. Okay, so when you're doing it here, it wasn't so hard for you to be thinking about that piece whilst you were holding the elbow of the hand or whatever it was. So what we're going to take the slack out. Now all your thought goes to her. It's like a magic trick, isn't it? So at the moment you're getting my attention, she's stable, but when I give her my attention, she starts to move. And it's no different from the conversation you have. You know my attention is focused on you right now. Joe knows I'm looking at her and focusing my attention on her. And Laura knows I'm focusing on her. Yep. So it's just something that you do in everyday life. Make it work for you. Be engaging. You don't need to push in, because that usually has something to resist. Boom. Best smile. That's all right. It doesn't matter, does it? It really doesn't. Trying to find a way that maybe helps. So, is this tight? This hand here. She knows that she can't get away easily, but I'm not trying to apply any torque here, am I? I'm just holding lightly. Is that tight? Tight on you, but am I holding tight? So it's very important that my hand is like this rather than at an angle. Okay. So I settle, so you can see my hand's a little bit bent here. And what I want to do is I want to straighten it to there. So as I connect, it's bent, but it finishes straight. And can you see the impact that has on her? So at the moment, this straight line is firing over there. But when I bring the straight line to her, that's when she wants to move. You can't see it because you're not on top of it, but my arm is dead straight when I'm applying this technique. So everything channels through that straight line. Yeah. It's very easy. It's very hard to fire lights around the corners. It goes in a straight line. Boom. So that's what I want to do. I want to, or, you know, if you have imagine shining a torch down a pipe that's bent, it's not going to be nearly as bright at the other end as if it was a straight line, I would guess. So that's what we're trying to do. Create a straight line to her. And everything is channeled to Laura. See if that helps. Doesn't know whether it doesn't. Ah! Yes! Victory! And given the time, that's a perfect place to call it a halt, I think. So open to questions off the floor or from the floor. Any thoughts? Okay, I'll let you process. Yeah, but it's always helpful if you go into a situation, even the difficult ones, with an open mind. Don't close doors, open doors. And eventually you'll find one that leads to a safe exit. And that comes with practice and confidence to explore. Aikido is just our metaphor. It can be the metaphor in which we can practice that. We can learn that slamming our head into a brick wall, it probably isn't all that helpful. It's much better to find the windows and doors. We can force people to the ground, or we can find ways of guiding them positively to the floor, which feels better for them and it feels better for us, and it makes the practice more joyous. Yeah. So being open to explore and always change what's not working as well as you want. And it will always change. You never will find your perfect solution, but you can hopefully you evolve over time to get closer to the person you want to be and the practitioner on the mat that represents that person that you like to be. So we're going to bow to you guys. And then we're going to bow. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for letting us share your practice. That was really informative, really helpful, really a privilege to